salutations. Welcome to What is in the
Greetings and salutations. I am the Ghoulfather at your service, and welcome to another edition of What is in the Box. But before we get to the box, there was a few of you ne'er-do-wells who were mentioning that there was some lip-syncing going on in the last video regarding a certain phraseology of Nicky Casket, demanding that you hear that again. And to that I say, no. This week, in the box, we're going to be talking about Grave Robber. This happens to be their first album, Be Afraid. Grave Robber, such an iconic band, with such a rich history. I only hope that I am capable of bringing their majesty to you.
Perhaps I can be of some assistance.
Wretched, is that you? Oh, I know you're around here somewhere. How does one summon a zombie? Oh, I'm sure I have something. Give me a moment here. Wine? No, that's for summoning staph infection. Oh, herbs. That? Oh my. No, I believe they've turned quite some time ago. Iron filings. Oh, these are against fairies. I don't even know why I have this. I rather like fairies. Ah. Night Brew. A frighteningly full-flavored blend. Spine-chillingly smooth, full flavor, and a shocking low acidity. Oh, wretched, come out, wherever you are. I think it's high time that the Ghoulfather met wretched Grave Robber. Let the show begin. Oh, wretched, how good to see you. You're looking well.
So nice to be here with you, Ghoulfather.
Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. Well, the pleasure is all mine, but let's get right into it. For those who may be uninitiated, could you kindly give us a brief history how the band began?
Grave Robber, as a concept, is, shall we say, an eternal thought. But as a band, we began in 2005. We only expected to be around for maybe, I don't know, 6 months, and here we are 15 years later.
I remember I first discovered you in 2010.
What took you so long?
I know. Well, I was asleep at the switch. But the one thing that I did notice, there's been a great evolution in your sound. If one were to look at an earlier track, Kill You Over and Over Again from 2009, as compared to the title track, Escaping the Grave, 2018, there's quite a maturity, if you will. How would you describe the evolution?
Well, like so many horror bands, our goal was to pay homage to our musical heroes. Number one being the Misfits. I would never deny that. So many bands pretend that they're not influenced by the Misfits, and most of them are lying. We wear it on our sleeves. But we're also fans of so many other theatrical artists,
Well,
like Alice Cooper,
mhm.
David Bowie, Kiss, and of course, big fans of the Ramones. So all of these things, all of these influences come into play, and sometimes we're in the mood for certain things, a more gothic style, a more punk rock style, whatever the case may be.
Well, that's one of the
So
things that I enjoy. Oh, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
that's okay. The sound just changes at a whim, wherever we feel like being, really. To be honest with you, I don't think we've ever written a song for anyone other than ourselves. So if we're happy with it, then it's a success. Fortunately, there's a handful of people out there that enjoy it as well.
I'd say a bit more than a handful, but I've even noticed a bit of a 50s influence, like progressive rock from the 50s in some of your sounds.
There's no question that we are influenced by 50s rock and roll, 60s rock and roll, 70s rock and roll, 80s arena rock. The 90s, not as much.
Not as.
Just because the depressing staring down at your shoes, leaning on your mic stand and whining about the world was never our thing.
When they take photographs looking away from the camera on the album cover.
Yes. Why would I look away? I mean, look at this beautiful face.
It's a face that everyone wants to see.
Of course, I should be looking right into the camera, not away. And I'm not remotely pensive. I like to celebrate. I like to celebrate music and life and enjoy it. I don't want depression. So a lot of the 90s had that, although some people don't like to admit it, but I like Green Day. I like a lot of the punk rock from the 90s. So I was okay with that part of it. The reality is there's so much music out there that we enjoy as a band, and even certain country artists or certain death metal or black metal. We're just fans of all things rock.
Would you say that songwriting is a collaborative effort of the band, or do you have a main songwriter?
Well, the main songwriter would be me. But to be honest, over the course of 15 years, there have been band members who are very good at songwriting and others who are not. So it just kind of depended on who was in the band at the time. Currently, we are working as a collaboration between certain band members, but it's not just all five of us at once. It's someone writes something, presents it to another guy, and they write something, and ultimately it filters through me. Ultimately, I'm the one who comes up with most of the lyrics, almost 100% of them. And so ultimately, it kind of has to filter through me because I'm the one who has to, quote unquote, sell the song live. If I don't believe in it, I can't sell it. So it has to be something that I believe in and that I can stand behind musically as well as lyrically. It also has to be louder than hell.
Now, speaking of that, there's one song that I always was that always connected with me, and that's Altered States. Could you talk about that song just a bit, please?
No.
Oh, I would so appreciate it.
I'm kidding.
Oh, don't make me get my skull cane now.
So, Altered States was our attempt at writing a radio pop song, if you will. The song Altered States began as something to, I guess, be a little more accessible to folks who weren't really that much into the Misfits and that sort of harsher punk rock sound. We wanted something that made the people that weren't really acclimated to that, something that made them feel like they were still a part of what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that song really began as our way of trying to reach maybe some people who were fringe elements of horror punk or horror rock, because the reality is everyone in horror rock is already in a fringe. So by a fringe person to horror rock, I mean more mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was that a good idea? I don't know. But some people liked the song and some people didn't.
Oh, it's one of my favorites.
Well, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is the middle section, we ended up not really being as poppy as we had intended, and it still got very dark. It still got very aggressive and scary. So, to be honest with you, I still enjoy the song, even though it's more of a quote-unquote radio type song.
As close to radio as you'll get.
Yes, as close as Grave Robber will get, which is probably not a radio song that any radio station would ever play.
Now there's a fun one that I enjoy, Beast of Busco, which I thought was interesting because you don't normally deal with cryptoids. Now, is that something that you have found interesting? Was it a local myth that was the inspiration behind that one?
There's a town about 10 minutes, 15 minutes north of our hometown of Fort Wayne, Indiana, called Busco. We call it Busco. The Beast of Busco was a 500-pound turtle that was supposedly seen in one of the local lakes in that area. One man saw the turtle, and everyone believed it. Years later, someone else had bought the property that Folk Lake resides on. The new owner claims he saw a turtle the size of a Volkswagen. Again, one person saw it, and everyone believed it. So much so that Life magazine was called. They sent divers down into the eerie, murky depths of Folk Lake looking for Oscar, the 500-pound turtle. They didn't find him.
Mm-mm.
So many people traveled to Folk Lake to see this horrifying 500-pound turtle that they had to call the military in to control the traffic. So many people believed something that till this day has never been proven on the witness of one person. I thought that was interesting.
Very interesting.
So we wrote a song about how crazy it is that there are truths out there that are seen by hundreds, if not thousands, and yet are still disputed to this day. Yet, if you say, I saw a 500-pound turtle, Life magazine will send people to find out about it. If you, one person, say, I saw a turtle the size of a Volkswagen, they will send the military to control traffic because so many people believe it. The reality is people believe what they want to believe, whether the evidence is there or not.
with as long as you've been involved in the music industry, which has been quite a long time, what would you say are some of the major changes that have taken place from when you began to how the music industry is now?
Well, I've been touring for a long, long time. And one of the biggest things is access to information. On one hand, that's good. On one hand, my $300 to $500 phone bills for a 3-week tour don't exist any longer. That's good. What's bad is that every schmo with a Guitar Center credit card can now buy a junk guitar and set up an email and book a tour. I know I sound a little bit jaded. That's not the point. I'm really not jaded. I'm happy for anyone to do art. I'm happy for anyone to create. I'm happy for anyone to get out there and do their thing. And I will stand behind just about anyone who's a decent enough person who puts forth good art. The thing that's changed, though, is how flooded it is. There's hardly anyone in the audience anymore because everyone's on stage. In some ways, that's good. In some ways, it's bad. Also, the thing that's changed is music. It used to be you'd create, record, put your music on vinyl. Someone would buy your vinyl and they would keep it forever. Vinyl I bought when I was very young. I still have.
So do I.
But now I can download your song, and when I'm tired of it, I can delete it. Music is disposable now. It's like a Bic lighter. I use it until I'm tired of it. Then I throw it away. So that's one of the downsides. One of the positives is that I can use social media to reach people I would have never been able to reach before. I will tell you this, Grave Robber, there's 2 things you need to know. Number 1, we are not the performers. We are all the performers. Almost all Grave Robber songs, I would say the vast majority, and especially the vast majority of songs we play live, are designed for the audience to be involved immediately. Almost every song has the part where you sing, whoa. And that's by design. We want people who have never seen us to immediately be a part of what we are doing, to sing along. You don't need to know the words. You just need to know how to go, whoa. And I don't care if it's in time. I don't care if it's in key. I only care that you are involved. That's important to us. The other thing that you should know about Grave Robber is we do not have any fans whatsoever. We have friends. Our fans don't exist. Grave Robber has the army of the dead. There's no charge to be in the army of the dead. There's nothing you have to pay to be involved. All you have to do is stand up front, make a fist, punch it in the air, and sing along with the band. You are in the army of the dead. You are family, and you are our friend. We don't have fans because we're not rock stars.
And on that note, in your long career, is there a certain high point that comes to mind, something that was very special that happened live, let's say?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is probably one of the craziest things we've ever done. We left at about 3 a.m., boarded a plane in Chicago, and flew to Mexico City. From there, we traveled to Tlaxcala, Mexico. and started the ascension up La Malinche, which is a volcano. We got about 3/4 of the way up the volcano, and that was where Exodofest was taking place. Grave Robber did this twice. We got to rock on a volcano. That, to me, was one of the craziest things ever, to know that we're playing horror punk on top of a volcano is a pretty cool thing.
Now, and if you don't mind my asking, what would be a low point? Something that didn't exactly go as you had planned.
That's easy. We spent 3 years trying to find a drummer. There was no one. It was the worst period because we lost a lot of momentum. We lost I think we lost a lot of fans during that period because, well, I said fans, I don't mean fans, you know what I mean? Friends. Family. We lost them because we were so stagnant and dormant, and nobody cared anymore about Grave Robber because we weren't doing anything. It's been very difficult for us to pick up steam, which is exactly what we're planning to do right now. We are working on a new recording. We are working on new visuals. We're working on all 5 of us getting facelifts. Just wait.
Well,
there will be a new Grave Robber look coming soon. New music, new visuals, new things happening on the stage that you haven't seen before. There will also be more tours. There will also be just more involvement. We are working on a trilogy of terror, 3 music videos shot by Jason West, who is a student of George A. Romero. We are also working on some quote unquote live videos. They will be absolutely live, but not necessarily in front of an audience. Something that we can release 5 songs at a time, and when we're done, we'll compile it together and put it on a DVD. So that's coming too. One of the things I'm very excited about is I'm excited to come back to Delaware and play Hellaware this year.
Oh, yes, that's on the list. And that is, if I'm not mistaken, August 14th.
Yes, August 14th. We're very excited. Last time we played with Dr. Chud. This time we'll not be playing with Dr. Chud because I believe that they've already announced it, but we are actually headlining Hellaware this year.
And I am very excited about this. Will be my first time that I'll get to see you live, or so to speak, live in some degree.
Yes. The last time that we played, it was such an amazing day. It was my first time meeting Ronan, meeting Steph Infection, and the entire group of Horror Punk USA were such great people. We're very excited to come back.
And we're very excited to have you back. Well, I think you've already answered the next one, the craziest moment on tour. I don't know how you could top a volcano.
No, I don't think we really could.
I don't think you could. And also, there was something that I had noticed that you said yourself. I noticed right away in your shows, in your groups, the engagement that Grave Robber always had with their fans, so to speak. And you've already said it, that you don't have fans, you have friends, and you always make everyone feel so welcome.
That's extremely important to us. We don't hide in the dressing room.
No.
We don't disappear when we're done playing. We are usually the last band to leave. We stay for every photo. We stay for every person who wants to say hello. And that's the way it's always been, and that's how we will always do it.
Now,
yes.
Unlike other bands in the punk metal genre, Grave Robber embraces a positive message. Could you speak, and you're not about negativity at all. Could you speak just a little bit on that?
Well, I mean, if you look at us, you would think that we celebrate death, but we don't. We celebrate life. This, my face, is not the face of a man who is dying. My face is the face of a man who is coming back to life from death. And we don't ever show up to celebrate death or celebrate anything dark or negative. We show up to celebrate life. We show up to celebrate music and punk rock and fun. And the side of our message that is spiritual is very personal to us and very important to us. But we don't ever want anyone to feel alienated by that. Our goal is never, ever to push anything on anyone, but to present what it means to us. We lay it on the table. If you want to pick it up, fine. If you don't, that's fine too.
Well, that was one thing I always appreciated about Grave Robber. When I first discovered your music, I wasn't aware of your very personal beliefs. I just thought it was good rock and roll. And then as I later got to know you a bit and got to know what you were all about, I did appreciate the fact that it's there, it's subtle, but it's very positive, and it's all, everyone's welcome, whether they believe, whether they don't believe, and you never make anyone feel alienated. And you've explained how there's a difference between a churchian or a Biblian or someone who excludes others from the welcoming that you've always been such a proponent of.
Yeah, we don't tolerate any of that.
No.
Ever. We never have. And to be quite honest, we don't play well with those who do.
Now, have you dealt with any backlash because of it?
I don't think to our faces, no, but I think we get overlooked a lot because of what we believe. I think we get passed over because of what we believe. I think that there's a lot of people who have a preconceived idea of who we are as people. I think there's a lot of people who have a preconceived idea of what we are going to say or what we're going to do or how they are going to be treated from us. So the funny thing is that those same people are fearful of being judged, but yet they're the ones doing the judging, aren't they? I don't mean to be pointing fingers. What I mean to say by that is that Grave Robber's MO is never to judge. Our MO is to be welcoming and inclusive, and we've never shunned anyone unless it's a hyper-religious person who's trying to, I guess, put us under their thumb. Then they might be dealt with.
Well, we've already touched on some things. I did wanted to mention briefly that your music appears in the Horror Punk USA short film Krampus Night. And that was a Christmas song.
Yes. Incredible honor, because I think very, very highly of Horror Punk USA. I think very, very highly of Ronan and Steph and yourself.
Thank you.
So to be asked to be a part of the very first short was a complete honor, and I'm indebted.
And
so it's definitely an honor.
We've talked about some of your upcoming projects, and there's quite a few. Are there any solo projects for Wretched himself?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because that's kind of been a plan for a long, long time. Grave Robber is punk rock muscle. It's punk rock with metal muscle. So my solo project will probably be more on the more gothic end of things. But I do plan on having something out by October of this year.
Oh.
Yep. And well, I'll just let the cat out of the bag right
Oh,
here.
yes. An exclusive.
The album or EP, I'm not sure yet. The recording, the release will be called The Man Behind the Mask.
Oh.
And it will probably be very personal and not as grandiose as some of the grave robber subject matter may be. My solo record will be more introspective, I think. And I plan on doing a cover of Alice Cooper's The Man Behind the Mask.
I love that.
For the album.
That's one of my favorites. That's off of Constrictor. Is that right?
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
yes. Oh, I look forward to that. Now, just to get this out, where can people find you? I mean, you don't seem to be difficult to find.
Well, once this whole Corona thing gets handled, people should be able to find us on stage somewhere very quickly. But as far as finding Grave Robber, we have a page, which is Grave Robber Punk 2. We have a Grave Robber group on Facebook. Grave Robbers on Instagram, Grave Robber Punk. We're on Twitter, Grave Robber Punk. We're very easy to find. And if you send us messages, we always respond. Maybe not as quickly as I would have liked, but we do respond to every person who reaches out to us.
And just for fun, of the more recent horror punk bands, what are some of just a handful of your favorite, the newer bands that are currently active and up and coming, if you will, that you personally enjoy?
Well, we live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so even though these bands aren't new, I have to mention the Lurking Corpses.
The Lurking. Oh, wah, 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 wah. I had to do that. Forgive me.
I also have to mention B-Movie Monsters.
Sure.
Our city per capita probably has more horror punk than we're really allowed to have, but here we are. I would also say that 5 Cent Freak Show is a big one for me. I really love that band.
And a great bunch of guys.
I've always been a fan of Blitzkid, but I mean, who isn't?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, Ronan's band is amazing. Dickie Devil. I've only heard a handful of songs, but what I've heard, I've really enjoyed. I love. Oh gosh, I should have thought about this ahead of time. There's so many.
There's so many.
So many great horror punk bands that are out right now that, where do you start? And I've had my favorites all along, like The Other. And, oh gosh, let's see, the Mansfields. I don't know if you remember them. Oh gosh.
I'll have to look them up.
Trying to think. Some friends of ours from just south of Cincinnati called Pagan Holiday 13. Fantastic people. Great band.
It's nice to hear you mention the Lurking Corpses. I feel they don't get enough recognition.
Yeah, that's strange too, because they've been around longer than we have. They've toured hard. They've put out lots of material, and they're great people.
Well, Wretched, I have to thank you so much for your time and for joining us tonight. It's been and for giving us that exclusive. But I did want to give you an opportunity for some final words. So the floor is yours. For your family and friends, anything you'd care to part with?
Well, one of the main things I just would like to say to anyone who sees this, and I'm assuming this is going out to all the people in Horror Punks USA, the family there, and we haven't met everybody. That would be hard to do, in the limited time that Horror Punks USA has been around. But I would just like to say that we look forward to meeting every single person involved in Horror Punk USA. And I would just like to say, give us a chance.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Wretched. and we'll be seeing you, if not sooner, August 14th in Delaware.
Yes, we are so excited to come back.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you soon.
And for
Until
everyone,
then, be afraid. Be very afraid.
and we may be freaks, but we are not alone.